Hi, folks. My name is Ralph Litwin, and this is Horses Sing None of It, a series. It's a project of the Folk Project, an activity of the Folk Project. And that's a nonprofit in New Jersey. And this is our first episode taping at the Amherst Media Studio in Amherst, Massachusetts, where I've moved recently to live in Massachusetts. And our guest today is Alan Podber from Brooklyn, New York.
And Ralph Litwin of Northampton, Massachusetts. All right.
How you doing, Al?
I'm doing just fine. You seem to be doing well.
Yeah.
Good. So, it's I still send out the recordings because I'm the community sponsor for Horses Sing None of It in a couple of cities. We communicate a lot, but it's nice seeing you. And sitting next to you in the old position the way we used to. Yeah, for so many years. Yeah, so thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here today.
Yeah, I'm glad you made it.
This is, there are over 750 episodes of Horses Sing None of It, which has been aired in cities all around the country, from New York to California.
Thanks for that plug.
Yeah, people should know. It's a very valuable resource in traditional music. It's an archive that will continue on, hopefully, for as long as there are people to listen to this music.
And it can be found on YouTube.
Yes, just about all of the episodes, including those that we thought were lost because CDs and DVDs apparently don't last forever. And they don't last much longer than tapes did, but we found some wonderful techniques of salvaging them, and most of the episodes are still extant, and they're on YouTube.
And we're going to start off with
Voodoo Queen Marie, it's a poem written by Antonia Stamfel, and also Antonia Duran and some certain other names, but she's basically Antonia. And this song was originally part of a song cycle that she wrote about Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. And this is the only one which ever was preserved. And I just think it's a great song. It's fanciful, but it keeps keeping with the legend of Voodoo of Marie Laveau, who was alleged to have lived for 150 years, basically because her daughter took her identity and became Marie Laveau. So that's how she lived 150 years. But I love the song. The melody was most people learned the melody from the Taj Mahal's first album, Giant Step, and the Old Folks at Home. And he played it on banjo, and the tune is called Colored Aristocracy. So this is Antonia's poem. She's also writes music, but for this song she used the old cakewalk, and we can play it.
don't the men folks stare? Gypsy hoops and rainbow clothes and long black shiny hair. Hangs down to her hips, she got cherry-colored lips. Other women walk on the earth, this one sails on the air. Folks live fabulous lives, they say they dream like Tiger Rise. Say she's a cat in disguise, say she's got horns on her head. Say she's married as well, say she wed the devil in hell. Turned him into a big black snake and keeps him under her spell. Dancing with a snake, dancing, dancing all night long, while the moonlit candle through the lake, dressed in flaming red, dancing with the dead, dancing all night long with a big red fish up over her head. Hooters know her name, they pass the tale from hand to hand. You can go throughout the land, never hear a word said, but if you know where to look, it's not written in anyone's book. All the news and say Queen Marie is not dead. Take it out.
Woo! Voodoo Queen Marie. I love that song.
As I do, too.
Yes. Notable versions were done by the Holy Modal Rounders and other groups, and including us on our CD, the fabulous Furry Harmonica Brothers, with Gibbony White, who used to play with us, and my dad, I think, plays on that too, Lenny Pat. That's his 6 guys in a telephone booth. Anyway, so.
And also joined by Bob Sackey on several numbers.
Bob Sackey, yes. Bob Sackey's amazing, and a hero also. He was in 9/11, and he's a fireman, and he was there, you know, on the day, I believe, and in the cleanup, and he plays bass saxophone and tuba on the album, and so he's a brilliant musician and a hero to boot.
So what are you going to play for us, Al?
Well, let's do some Leadbelly songs, but I'm going to play some Leadbelly songs. Some I'll do the way Leadbelly does them, and some I'll do the way I do them. And some is a mix. I have a tendency to. I was in a band called also the Big Road Blues Band, and our mantra was, and it was the title of a CD, Cross Roots, because you know the blues. Is stylistically unified, but there's also, because it's largely a solo medium, there's a tremendous variation and range of styles, individual styles, which because it has style, the genre has stylistic unity, it works together. So you can do a Leadbelly song and you can incorporate, you know, Leadbelly used a mostly his thumb was chordal. And the Piedmont players in the East Coast use that ragtime alternating bass, but it works if you do some Leadbelly and some Piedmont in the same song. And then you can throw in little riffs of different artists, you know, a Blind Boy Fuller's syncopated thumb playing. That works in there, and there's just a lot of other things also. So that's basically, and a lot of Reverend Gary Davis, with you know counterpoint and stuff like that. So. Let's do. Okay, so Leadbelly was a lot of people don't know this, but his name was Udi Ledbetter, and he was a songwriter, but he was also a poet in the folk tradition, and you know he knew that there were epic poetry, an African American tradition, and an African tradition too. And the American, toasting tradition was followed up on that. But so he took popular culture, and very often he created epic poetry about it, and legends and stories. So this When I Was a Cowboy, White's got all of the popular 19th and early 20th century cowboy heroes in this song. It's very cool. He also traveled around with working with John Lomax, who was head of the who was a folklorist at the University of Texas, but he also worked with the Library of Congress, as did his son Alan and daughter Bess. And Leadbelly saw that other cultures also had this epic poetry, which they created these wonderful myths and legends, and so he did the same. And of course now I have to pick up the pick that dropped. That is something which may happen occasionally. Unfortunately, these things are not glued to my fingers, and I try to make them tight, but when I play fast like a maniac, they do come off. Let's try this. Cowboy out on the western plains. When I was a cowboy out on the western plains, I made $500,000 pulling on the bridle rein. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yicky, yay. Oh, the hardest battle was ever on Bunker's Hill. Oh, the hardest battle was ever on Old Boot Hill. When me and a bunch of cowboys run into Buffalo Bill. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, yicky, yay. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay. Oh, the hardest battle was ever on the western plains. Oh, the hardest battle was ever on the western plains. When me and a bunch of outlaws run into Jesse James. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay. When me and a bunch of cowboys run into Jesse James. Me and a bunch of cowboys run into Jesse James. The bullets was a-falling just like a shower of rain. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yicky, yay. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yicky, yay. I rode up to my gal's house. She was rocking in a rocking chair. Rode up to my gal's house. She was rocking in a rocking chair. She said, "Oh, Western cowboy, please don't you leave me here." Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay. So tomorrow, if your house catches on fire and there ain't no water around, if your house catches on fire and there ain't no water around, throw your jelly out the window, let the doggone shack burn down. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay. So come all you cowboys, don't you wanna go? Come all you cowboys, don't you wanna go? Come meet the Lone Ranger on the range of Buffalo. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay. Come a cow, cow, yicky, come a cow, cow, yicky, yay.
All right.
All right. Well, and that's my arrangement of. And you know what? A musician I play with, and I've played with for many years, Miriam Valley. She was in the Delaware Water Gap String Band with me, and she's got a whole other career as a pop singer. But this is basically the same melody that the Beatles used in "I Want to Be Your Mother, Baby, I Want to Be Your Man." You like it? And I didn't realize that until Miriam said, that's a Beatles song. But Lead Belly did it first. Speaking of Lead Belly songs, here's a song where I'm going to do Lead Belly did a lot of finger picking like this. Notice how the thumb just goes down like this, whereas the Piedmont players did that, which is basically like, Merle Travis did that style of picking, and that's why it got to be called Travis picking. Of course, he didn't originate it. It was originated by the ragtime guitarists, end of the 19th century, early 20th century. But in this, and Lead Belly, though, also was very into like the bass sound of the 12-string guitar. This is a baritone 12, but I have standard strings on it, medium gauge though, and it's braced like a baritone. So, I feel safe putting the medium gauge that it's not going to pull the neck off. This guitar was designed by Joe Veillette. This is a version that he had mass produced in Korea, but it's a nice guitar. They don't make them anymore. This was the last one on the East Coast. I picked this up at Gruen Guitars in Nashville. It's a nice guitar. Anyway, so Lead Belly plays the melody on the bass, but I also do a little finger picking on it. Let's see if I can get it right. Lead Belly, we'll start with Lead Belly. And I think Lead Belly plays it in F, but in the Pete Seeger and Julius Lester book, it's in G, and I think most people play it in G now, so I'm going to play it in G fingering, not in G chords. Relax your mind, will make you live a great long time. Sometimes you've got to relax your mind. When the light turns green, push down on the gasoline. One time you've got to relax your mind. Shove your brakes down to the bed. That's the time you got to relax your mind. Relax your mind, relax your mind. Will make you live a great long time. That time you got to relax your mind. When you're driving your automobile, keep your eyes on that windshield. That's the time you gotta relax your mind. Relax your mind, relax your mind. Makes you feel as fine as wine. That's the time you gotta relax your mind. Sad story. Once was a man crossed the railroad tracks. He forgot to relax. That's one time he should have relaxed his mind. would do that again, but I'm not going to do it now because we do this one take. It's a one-take show. If I play the wrong note, deal with it. Okay. Okay, here's now. This I do more straight lead belly. This is more the way he played it. Look, a lot of people have misconceptions of the blues, because it got turned in, to a pop song medium when it was, a lot of the folk aspects of the music kind of faded away, and it became a song which is basically about relationships, and blues always was about relationships, but there was always a context because it was a folk music, and people were talking about relationships in the context of these larger social forces that were impacting on those concepts, on those factors, on the relationships. And so, you have, blues themes, and there's been a lot of research on this. Blues themes include travel and leaving home, to escape terrible conditions, to look for new conditions that are more conducive to living a fulfilling life, wherever possible. And here's a song that talks about relationships, and it starts off with an argument, and it ends where they separate. But you see what it's about. It's about money, and it's about money as survival. And, apparently she's saying to him that he's, not able to provide. And he's saying, look, I do all that I can, but, there aren't that many job opportunities available to me and to people like us. And so, I do the best I can. And so here's You Don't Know My Mind. I just love the idea of that, we all have an inner life, and, we do things, we in a certain way to comport ourselves in such a way that people will want to maintain our friendships and seek us out. But there's an inner life that we have where people recognize the terrible pressures that we're under, and that in particular in the culture, the African American culture of the South, which was every aspect of it was pretty much defined by the Jim Crow nature of the conditions that people were in, and every aspect of people's lives had to be seen in that context, and it was in the songs. Now, people who heard these songs from that culture knew this. A lot of people from outside the culture really just heard the relationship stuff and missed, what the subtext of the song is. Now, this is Lead Belly's song. He did a couple of versions of this song. This one, though, is very clear what he's talking about. Breakfast on the table, my coffee's getting cold. Mama's in the kitchen getting sweet Papa told. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, babe, I'm trying to keep from crying. I asked my baby, could you stand to see me cry? She said, sweet Papa, I could stand to see you die. Baby, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, babe, I'm trying to keep from crying. Look, the first time I met you, laid at a stone, I took you in. You didn't have no home. You don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, babe, I'm trying to keep from crying. I worked all the summer, part of the fall. I come home and took my Christmas in my overalls. Baby, you don't know my mind.
When you see me laughing, babe, I'm trying to keep from crying. I can't fork no wheeler, can't shake no plow, but I can do anything if you show me how. Baby, you don't know, you don't know my mind. When you see me laughing, baby, I'm trying to keep from crying. Play that now, okay? Walking down the levee with my head hanging low, looking for my mama and she ain't here no more. Baby, you don't know my mind. You may see me laughing, but baby, I'm just keeping from crying.
Yeah.
You don't know my mind. Let me do another one. This is pretty much the way Leadbelly played it. If I can find, here it is. The Jailhouse Blues. Now, you know, years ago, I did a thesis, and I called it the Therapeutic Characteristics of Early Down-Home Blues, and I left this song out. I played this song, and I can't believe I left it out. Each verse, this is about somebody who's becomes incarcerated, and it's like if you were writing a textbook on the stages that people go through, first the denial is included, then pleading, then a sense of resilience that you can survive it, and then a realization that maybe in some cases you could have handled things differently. 1, 2, 3, go. 30 days in the workhouse, 6 long months in jail. "30 days in the workhouse, 6 long months in jail. Well, I got me in trouble, no one would go my bail. When a man gets in trouble, everybody turns him down. When a man gets in trouble, everybody turns him down. And I got me in trouble, Rikers Island bound. I say, please, Mr. Jailer, come unlock that door for me. Oh, please, Mr. Jailer, come and lock that door for me. 'Cause my heart is full of blue, and it's all come down on me. But I'm a hard-working prisoner, sent here without a trial. hard-working prisoner sent here without a trial. But I'm as hard as they come to last a great long while. If I'd done like my baby told me, would have been here today. If I'd done like my baby told me, would have been here today. Would have been on Rikers Island in 6 long months to pay.
All right. Al, you should tell us about what you do in Brattleboro.
What I do in Brattleboro? I have a little studio up there, and someday I'm going to have it set up in a way where I can do, as I got older, my son keeps saying, Dad, you got all these arrangements, and you don't put them on YouTube. So I'm going to put them on YouTube. And that's one of the reasons I got the place up there. One of the things I do in Brattleboro is I'm the community sponsor of Horses Sing None of It, also in Brooklyn, New York. And so I select which shows go on, and I do the editing when they have to, because sometimes the episodes are too long, and sometimes they're too short, and sometimes you've got the ones where you can only salvage half of the show because the DVDs deteriorated. So I put them together and do a little editing. And I've also started being a rotating host on the folk music radio show on WBAI. So I did the first one in February, and I will do the next one on April 7th. So you can tune in at 10 p.m. on WBAI, streams at WBAI.org, or if you live in the area where you can pick it up, it's 99.5 FM, and I'll be doing that show. But I want to get back now to, if we have time, let me do another song, because I think this is an important song based on what's happening in the world today. And I always want to do this song. And this was a favorite of Leadbelly's, and it's really an interesting story. The song was written the music was written by Earl Robinson, who's a great composer of classic and folk influenced classical music. He wrote the music to I Dreamed I Saw Joe Hill Last Night, and the Ballad for Americans that Paul Robeson famously sang, and The House That I Live In that Frank Sinatra made famous. I think and also his lyricist was the same lyricist that he used for this song. This lyricist is a real interesting guy, because this lyricist wrote "Somewhere Over the Rainbow" for the movie of Wizard of Oz. He wrote, Once I built a tower, made it run, made it race against time. He wrote, Lydia, oh Lydia, that encyclopedia, Lydia, the tattooed lady. So this guy, has got a wide range. His name was E.Y. Harburg. And E.Y. Harburg and Earl Robinson combined on this song. It's basically a pacifist song saying World War II could have been avoided, and or at least it shouldn't happen again. And so the lyrics for this song are a lyric saying that we're all together. The title is "We're in the Same Boat, Brother." He wrote it as a classical cantata, and it was supposed to sound like it was a folk song that was turned into a classical song. And Earl Robinson famously said that when Leadbelly did it, he turned it back into a folk song. Let's see if I can get this right. This is mostly based. And I just want to do it because, I mean, as we tape this now, you know, the horror is going on in Ukraine, and I want to sing this song because of that. We're in the same boat, brother. We're in the same boat, brother. And if you shake one end, you're gonna rock the other. It's the same boat, brother. Oh, the Lord looked down from his holy place, said, Lordy me, what a sea of space. It's a spot to launch the human race. So we built them a boat and a mixed up crew, with eyes of black and brown and blue. And that's how come that you and I got just one world, just one sky. We're in the same boat, brother. We're in the same boat, brother. And if you take one end, you're gonna rock the other. It's the same boat, brother. So the boat rolled on through storm and grief, over many a rock and many a reef. What kept them going was a great belief, so they had to learn to navigate. And the human race's special phrase. And if they didn't want to be in Jonah's shoes, they better be mates on this here cruise. We're in the same boat, brother. We're in the same boat, brother. And if you shake one end, you're gonna rock the other. It's the same boat, brother. Now here's the part which you have to know a little World War II history. But the second line is very, very telling. Oh, the boiler blew somewhere in Spain, and the keel was smashed in the far Ukraine. Steam poured from Oregon to Maine. Well, it took some time for the crew to learn what's bad for the bow ain't good for the stern. And if the hatch takes fire in China Bay, Pearl Harbor's deck gonna blaze away. It's in the same boat, brother. We're in the same boat, brother. If you take one end, you're gonna rock the other. It's the same. What's the one? With me? We're in the same boat, brother.
We're in the same boat, brother.
If you shake one end, you're gonna rock the other. It's the same boat,
Brother.
Yay.
Well, folks, thanks for tuning in. And we want to thank Al Podber for being our guest.
My pleasure. I apologize for a couple of wrong notes there, but no. Well, we did one retake, but just one.
And thanks to Amherst Media for hosting the show. Thanks very much.